Hello, everyone. Welcome. Just waiting for everyone to join. Hi, my name is Olga, and today I'm going to host this session. We're having a master students panel, and we're really excited to tell you more about master studies. What are the opportunities that are given to you by the studies? What maybe the guys will give us some hints about the preparation and also about the internship and everything around the ecosystem of master studies. I'm really privileged to have 4 guest speakers today. It's Hannah, Josh, Ananya, and David. So guys, how about you introduce yourself? Just tell a little bit about your background and the current school where you're studying. Each having 1 minute to speak. I'll just start with Hannah.
Awesome. So my name's Hannah. I am in the MMS FOB program, Foundations of Business program at Fuqua. I went to Duke undergrad as well, and I had a psychology major with also my MMS certificate. I'm from originally Tampa, Florida, and I was a student athlete in undergrad.
I'll go next here. My name's Josh. I am in the Masters of Science in Quantitative Management program at Duke University's Fuqua School of Business. I did my undergrad in biology, and so I've kind of transitioned from biological research and more into the finance and analytics realm. My program is actually going to probably be a little bit different from all the others. I am in the professional program, so it is primarily through distance learning, and I'll go into more on why I chose that later in the session. So
great. Ananya, would you continue?
Sure. Hi, I'm Ananya. I'm from India, and I am doing my master's in management from WHU. A little bit about my background. So I did my bachelor's in economics. I worked in finance for 2 years. Honestly, I didn't enjoy that much, so I decided to shift. That's one of the main reasons why I took a management course, and right now I am specializing in marketing and sales. I would tell you more about the course and my internships through the course of time.
Great, thanks a lot. And David, please.
Hi, everybody. I'm so excited to be here with you all today. I'm David. I'm a first-year MBA student, full-time MBA at UC Riverside. I'm here in beautiful SoCal, and I actually did my undergrad at UCR as well. I did my undergrad in business marketing. It took me a while to sort of settle on my concentration, but eventually I figured that marketing was sort of my passion and where I felt like my strengths lie in the best. So I'm now pursuing my MBA. I am a full-time MBA student, which is a 2-year program at UCR. And I felt like it was just the best fit for me because of just my different goals for my career and the amount of time as well, and whatever the program offered. So as was mentioned, I'll speak more on that once we move on with the questions.
Great, thanks a lot for this introduction. So just for everyone to understand a little bit more of each of your schools, could you maybe each tell us a couple of words, what is so unique about your school? And it's not the time to compete between yourself, but rather to say, yeah, maybe what made you decide to pick exactly this school? Just a couple of factors. Hannah, will you go ahead?
Yeah. So I think one thing that makes Duke so unique is we call it Team Fuqua, the Fuqua family. I think everything that I've done in my program is very group-based, and you get to know such a diverse group of people. And I went to Duke undergrad, so I can speak to the undergrad side of things and being in Durham. And I think it's a growing city. It's a fun city, and the people are what makes it so unique and so special.
Yeah, I'll touch in on that too. Like Hannah had said, Fuqua is real big on collaboration and diversity. And so whenever I was actually looking at programs and deciding, the whole idea of Team Fuqua resonated with me. But then as I got into the program and I actually started, that's whenever I realized that it's more than a slogan and it's actually a real thing. I mean, we have individuals in my program from various backgrounds in finance, consulting, and tech, and just being able to collaborate with them, it's incredible.
All right. Wow. Okay. Then Ananya, let's continue this already settled order.
Sure. Okay, so about Behau, it's nothing like I have ever seen before, simply because it's in a very, very small village. It's literally in the middle of nowhere. So, like, the good thing about that is it's so remote that you don't really have anything else to do, which is why you end up like having a very strong community feeling. So all the students there, they're very interconnected. We always work together in groups, we chill in groups, we even get bored in groups. The good thing is that even like 10 years down the line, we are still in touch with each other because we have basically seen everything possible. So that is, I think, one of the main things that I have taken from this university, this community feeling.
And what about you, David? You're also in the village, or rather not?
Well, I think that's actually one of the misconceptions about Riverside, is that it's sort of like the middle of nowhere. However, we're about 45 minutes away from mountains and beaches and Disneyland and so many other great things that people love about SoCal. And so I think one of the things for me that really had attracted me to UCR first, because I also did my undergrad here, was the just the diversity of the campus. We do actually pride ourselves not just in terms of an idea, but the actual wide variety of students from different backgrounds and students from different lifestyles who actually attend our campus, that make our campus so vibrant and such a great place to learn. I think that's where it really played a big role in me choosing UCR, because I wanted to have a space where I would feel like I would be able to grow and I would feel supported. I think one of the things that I really felt here at this campus was that it was not cutthroat. Everybody was here to help me grow and really support me within my studies. And there were so many different opportunities to be involved on campus and have those opportunities to grow professionally just outside of my academics. And so I think I saw that as an almost obvious choice for my master's as well. I wanted to, be able to remain in a space where I could hit the ground running. I would not really have to adapt as much. However, it was still a different program, so there would be some adjustments. So I would be in a sort of incubational space where I would be able to grow more and more within my master's studies as well.
This sounds fantastic. So I feel like starting masters again, definitely. So and the next question, or the next big decision when you probably have picked a school or a short list of schools, is practically to think whether you should go for a 1-year program or for a 2-year program, 2 years program. Guys, how it worked out with you? What kind of program did you pick, and how did you make that decision? So let's do other way around now, starting with David.
Okay, so I think for me, it just sort of, I unfortunately did not have the opportunity to have a lot of professional experience outside of my academics working in a career-related field, either during undergrad or post-undergrad. And for me, it was really important to be able to sort of get my education out of the way. I know that for many folks, I've heard from so many people who have already graduated before, that once you leave school, it's very hard to go back to school. Once you have your work commitments and your family commitments, life moves on and you kind of move on with it. And so it becomes harder and harder to be able to pursue, more school past undergrad. So I wanted to be able to, after undergrad, start fresh out of school. And so for me, that made the most sense with the UCR full-time program for the MBA, because it is a 2-year program. We also offer 1-year programs for a Master's of Finance, as well as a Master's of Professional accountancy, and then also a 3 to 5 year program for folks who are working but want to do a part-time MBA while they work. So for me, a full-time MBA made the most sense. It's 2 years, and that makes up 6 quarters. And it really breaks everything up, I feel like, into a manageable course load where I would be able to balance both school as well as extracurricular activities, as well as pursue opportunities in work or summer internships, and the whole list goes on.
Ananya, what was your choice, and did you even have a choice?
Yes, I did have a choice. Well, like one of the foremost reasons why I chose a 2-year master's was because I wanted to delay working as much as possible. But jokes apart, that's not the main reason. Because I chose to do my master's in a foreign country with where I do have a language constraint. I wanted to give myself more time to be able to learn the language. So for that reasons, I think it made more sense for me to do a 2-year master's. Plus, I did not really have a international experience before I actually went for my master's, and the 2-year program gave us the opportunity to go for a semester abroad. So both of these reasons combined, I decided that this is the best option for me.
All right. So will anyone add some diversity here? Is anyone doing 1-year program? All right, Hannah, go ahead then.
Yeah, so I decided on a 1-year program. Personally, it was because I didn't have the work experience in order to look at the MBA program at Fuqua. So I kind of stuck with the 1 year. And for the 1-year program, they look at more recent grads. So I actually graduated in December of 2019. I graduated in 3.5 years. And then I was able to get an internship from January until August before the program started. And being a student athlete in undergrad, I didn't have the opportunity to get an internship when I was in school. So I was very thankful to have that experience and to be able to bring that experience with me into the program. But one great thing about my program is down the line, if I want to go back and get my MBA at Fuqua, I'm able to do it, and it's only 1 extra year. So this is kind of the first step into getting my MBA, but in between that, I hope to gain work experience to bring back to get the rest of my degree.
Yeah, okay, that's fair. And Josh, how about you?
Yeah, so my decision process came down to the fact that I'm married. I have 3 kids, and so I have a family, and I have a career, and so 1-year programs and full-time on campus just were not going to work for me. And so I knew that I would need to space out my education to be able to have a manageable load. And that's where the MSQM program at Fuqua kind of fits right in. Is it's 19 months long, and we do 3 courses per semester, but they kind of have broken it up to make it manageable for those who work 40+ hours a week. And so we get the same rigorous instruction that other students get, but they've instead lengthened the program. And so for me, whenever I was deciding between 1 year and 2 year, it really did come down to what was going to work best for my family. Didn't want anything that would take me away from my wife and kids for too long throughout the week. And so landed on Fuqua and haven't looked back.
Fantastic, guys! Your profiles are so different, and I think we have had the question scheduled who is the best candidate for 1 or 2 year program, but you pretty much represent all the possible profiles. So thank you for that, and cheers to organizers. So I invited the panel. Let's talk about another question. Do you think that generally the work experience is necessary before starting the master's? Would you recommend to have one? Does work experience, if you have it, help you to study more effectively or do something else? Who would like to jump in now?
I'll go ahead and jump in. For my program specifically, work experience was, I don't want to say it was required, but it is highly encouraged. I do have some even people on my team because Fuqua breaks you up into teams. And I have two individuals who are in their first year of full-time work experience. And so they're recent undergrad graduates. And so for my cohort, it is advantageous to have, work experience to be able to bring that into the class discussions or bring that into any sort of discussion boards that we have, because you can give a professional perspective on real world scenarios that you may have encountered yourself, that without that experience, you would never have really been able to kind of understand and put yourself in the shoes of a decision maker. And so for my program specifically, yeah, it is beneficial, but not a requirement. So.
All right. Does anyone want to add something up?
I just sorry, go ahead.
I just want to sort of like extrapolate from what Josh said. Well, honestly, like since I had a change in my career path, like I moved from finance to marketing. I did not bring a lot of technical knowledge when I entered the master's because I was changing fields. But at the same time, like while I was working in groups for different projects, I could realize that there were certain soft skills which I had learned while working in a corporate office, which I wouldn't have known if I did not have that experience. So yes, I actually second him on that.
David, so go ahead.
I think Josh made a great point about, folks who do have work experience absolutely bring their own unique perspectives whenever you're discussing various topics or doing projects. However, one of the great things about the program at UCR was that we don't require work experience. It's, of course, something which is strongly encouraged. However, it's not required, which is why I felt like it was also a great fit for me. However, I do believe that, if you do have some work experience, it absolutely helps you to, see the material which you're learning from the perspective of being applied within the workplace, or at least if it was not applied within your specific workplace, it's great to be able to compare and look at how much different it could be within your as compared to your personal work background. I think for me, it doesn't take as much away from my experience. I definitely am absorbing a lot of information, and one of the great things about our program at UCR is that a lot of our professors do offer a lot of opportunities to look at case studies and observe various different examples that give you sort of a look into different workplaces and how these topics are being applied. One of the great things that I loved about my strategy class from last quarter was that without actually having real work experience, being able to do weekly case studies of different companies which have basically employed those different strategies which we were learning about, it definitely gave me some really, really solid perspective about how I might be able to apply that once I finish my program and venture more into my career. So I think that definitely it's a great thing to have experience, but even if you don't, there's a lot which you could learn from your peers and a lot which you could learn actually from your coursework.
Yeah, and I'll go ahead and jump in. And it's very similar, my program, to David's. It's wonderful if you do have that experience, but it is definitely not necessary. The average age for both the MMS Foundations of Business program and the Duke Kunshan University program that's partnered with this one is like 22 or 23. So it's definitely people who are coming straight from undergrad. So it's definitely not necessary. And I think, like Josh touched on, being a part of Fuqua and we're in groups, one thing that they really emphasize is trying to match you with people who bring different strengths. So someone who might have that work experience or someone who has a math background, they try to diversify it so that way everyone can bring a little something to the group and that experience.
Right. Thank you very much. Yeah, I mean, Also, there are still other opportunities, even for those who haven't gained any professional experience before starting masters. There are still opportunities probably offered by schools. Does any of your school offer internship opportunities or any other ways to get hands-on experience beyond the academics? Also, feel free to jump in.
Sure, I would like to go first. Well, WHU is actually known for its career center. Like the first day when I went inside the campus, the first thing my seniors told me was that the career center, there are 3 ladies, they are goddesses, worship them always. And that's true because they will support you no matter what. You need career advice, you need life advice, you don't know where your career is headed. They would always be there for you. They also keep on organizing different career fairs. We have company presentations. We have like 1 or 2 recruiting events too. So all these companies, they come, we have dinner with the representatives, we have coffee with them or like high tea, something of that sort, and you network with them. And most of the times that's how we get our internships too, like just through a very long conversation over like, I don't know, just dinner or just coffee. You connect with them on LinkedIn and then later on you just hit them up and say that, hey, I'm looking for an internship. If there is anything, please let me know, or like if you could just refer me. And that has worked out for me so far and a lot of for my friends too.
I would absolutely have to second what was just said. Our career center at UCR is beyond extensive. I think that's one of the best features of our campus. At least one of the strongest resources which is available to our students is that all throughout undergrad and grad, you have so many different opportunities to apply for either during the year or summer internships, jobs, whether on campus or off campus. I have personally found so many different opportunities on campus, and that it has been the breadth of my experience, whether doing internships with, for example, the School of Business, or whether just working various jobs on campus. I really have been able to find so many different opportunities, and so many other folks have been able to find various opportunities through our career center. I think on top of that, one of the things that is really great about UCR is we have such a vast network of people who have graduated. Our alumni work in companies like Visa and Google and Lucasfilm and so many different great companies that really opens doors for us. And one of the great things is that our alumni stay very connected with the campus, and they come back and they do different speaker series and different events where you can meet with them and really build those connections. And you really feel a genuine interest from them to be able to uphold this relationship with the school. On top of that, we do also have recruitment events on campus where we have so many different companies coming, whether it is Esri or Pepsi or PricewaterhouseCoopers, and they do actively recruit from our campus. And so, you know, back when we were on campus, when I was still in undergrad before everything basically shut down because of COVID, we would have at least 1 to 2 of those every quarter with so many different companies coming to our campus. And that really gave students an opportunity to find those jobs and also those summer internships, which really help you grow professionally and bolster your background once you start applying for jobs after you finish your degree.
Mm-hmm. Josh, I have a question for you. What do you think, like, for people searching for jobs after masters, or like other guys, you can also talk about the internships. Do you think it is helpful and gives some competitive advantage if one has had professional experience before?
I think it depends really. If your professional experience prior is in a field completely different from the field you're looking to move into, it may or may not assist you in landing a position within a specific company. And so, I mean, tough question. I think it really just does depend on what that prior experience is in. For me personally, my professional experience has been in banking and financial services. And so that's where I want to stay. And I don't believe, that my prior experience is going to hinder me, because I've kind of built upon that as I've gone the past 4 years post undergrad, and so I think it really does depend on that past experience and what you made of it. Did you stay in a position for a long period of time without any sort of accomplishments, or did you show that you were taking on more responsibility? Did you show that you were doing things in a quantitative capacity or managing a department or so forth? I mean, each opportunity is kind of what you make of it. And so if you made the most out of your work experience and you excelled, I think it can be beneficial, even for those who are pivoting. So.
Yeah, thank you for this opinion. I think that for many, when they consider also still like what to choose, 1 year or 2 years, another really important factor is to wait is whether one could get like a full-scale cultural experience at any given location over 1 year. So Hannah, did you also think about this? And what your experience has been so far, or also experience of your peers regarding that? Is 1 year enough?
Yeah, so I can't speak to it a whole lot because I did get 4 years of undergrad at Duke and the Durham area, but I can speak to it in the sense of I have a lot of friends who are in this program, and obviously with COVID and stuff going on right now in the world, we're not able to fully experience what Durham is like and what the Fuqua family is like in person, but Fuqua has done an amazing job of like still incorporating events into like our time in the program, and I definitely do think 1 year is a great amount of time and it's sufficient in order to get everything out of what we all want in a program. And I'm actually going to touch on a few things from like the internship and the career center side, but one great thing that my program does allow you to do is something called FCCP, which is Fuqua Client Practicum, and I'm not a part of it, but I have a few friends are, and it's an additional course that you can apply for in the fall that goes from fall to spring, and it's an experiential learning component that enhances the core curriculum that you're already doing, and it's basically for students who are interested in the consulting to have a more hands-on experience, and you're paired with a Durham company and like a startup, and you're basically helping the company solve some sort of problem. So you're also paired with a current MBA student and a faculty member. So that's something that has really been, I know for some of the people who are in it, they've enjoyed it, and it's giving them that real world experience that most of the people in my program don't have the opportunity to have before coming into it.
Yeah, sounds great. And if we stick to this cultural point, so Ananya, you mentioned this. Can you elaborate on this a little bit more? So apart from having fine German food, what other experiences are you gathering there?
Sure. As I already mentioned, that we lived in a very, very small village, but we had a very strong community, especially like all the international students. So like we always went out on dinners or like random walks. The funny thing was that the only place we had to chill in that entire village was the supermarket. So at any point, if you just like walk into the supermarket, you will see 10 people just standing there and talking because we were so bored. But anyhow, like we also learned a lot from each other because we were so bored. We always tried to like find new things to do. Somebody knew how to like make something very specific, so we learned cooking. We learned how to like, I don't know, like art and craft and all of that stuff. We did not have a lot of free time though, but whatever we had, we did that. Additionally, because we also have a compulsory internship period, so during that time, obviously had to move out of this small village. So I moved to Berlin, and that has been a great experience so far. Like, if somebody has to say something about international experience, I think that is the best place to be. Yes, I did not have a lot of university friends there, but I made other friends. I met a lot of like people, a lot of good alumni. I actually got my second internship through one of these alumni connections that I made when I moved to Berlin. So yeah, like overall, I have had a great experience, like cultural immersion wise.
Sounds so fun. Like, I've been living in Germany for 3 years. I have not been having such fun. That's pretty cool. I should stop by. That's for sure. Let's talk a little bit more about like strategic planning, and what do you think masters will add up to your CV? Like, be it 1 year masters or 2 year masters, because you have the different options. Like, what was your idea with that, and what kind of a person in terms of your CV weight will you step out of the school? Let's now do the standard round again. So Hannah, would you go ahead?
Sorry, can you repeat the question? I think you're on mute.
Oh, thank you very much. That's fun. That happens quite often, right? My question was, what do you think? What kind of weight does the program add to your CV? Like, what kind of person? Like, do you want to be after graduating in terms of your professional value?
Yeah, of course. So. For me, the master's program has allowed me to connect with lots of alumni, and I think that's been the biggest thing that it's going to add to my professionalism and into my career. And the Career Center has allowed me to interact with people who are alumni and are in different career types, because I'm someone who, I don't really know what I want to do. I don't know where I want to take like my career yet. But the Career Center has been great in allowing me to reach out to former alumni who work with maybe Microsoft or work at different companies, and to kind of give me a feel of where I want to take my life and where I want to take my career in the future. So it's definitely allowed me to have that experience and to talk to former alumni to give me more of an insight of where I want to go.
Yeah. Okay. Josh, would you go ahead?
Yeah. So for me, my program is for working professionals, and so the career services does help, but I also have kind of stepped out of my comfort zone personally, and I've utilized LinkedIn extensively to connect with Fuqua alumni, and most notably, probably one of my biggest I want to say assets, but one individual that I have become acquainted with is the president and CEO of US Polo, and he sits on the board of visitors at Fuqua. And that connection came about due to the fact that he's a Fuqua alum. And so, and Hannah knows this as well, Fuqua students are known for being intelligent, for being innovative, for being creative, and really driven. And so the Duke name in Fuqua, it does bolster an individual's resume or CV. They see that and they know this individual has the intellectual capability to catapult this organization or this department forward. And so for me personally, after the program, that's kind of what I'm hoping to do, is to either stay where I'm at, or if I need to move on to another organization, to utilize the skills that I'm gaining in the program to help catapult an organization forward. And Fuqua, Team Fuqua transcends just beyond your individual program and your individual classroom. Daytime MBA, the executive MBAs, the MMS, the MSQMs, MQMs, it's all one big family. And so whenever you see someone is attending or has attended Fuqua, they're considered a family member, and so you want to help them succeed as best as you can. So
that was a good recommendation. So Ananya, what's about you?
Actually, we also have the thing that, like, if you just like go and if you just find somebody who is from Wehau, like this happened to me. I was actually sitting at a bar and I started talking to somebody and he said, I'm from Wehau. And then we had like a very long conversation about my thesis in the middle of the night. So yeah, like this is the kind of behavior you get from most of the people who come from the same university. But I would say that, like, we have been taught that you can be anything that you want to be. So for the same reason, we have like the 6 core subjects that we have is like in every field possible. So you know a little bit of everything, and then you can obviously build on something specific if you want to. But having said that, it's very competitive. extremely competitive. Like 1 minute you're chilling at a supermarket, the next minute you're sitting in the study room working on 3 assignments parallelly. This also has happened to us. So yeah, so which is why like you get used to a very stressful lifestyle, but you also get used to how to deal with that stress at the same time. Which is why a lot of the students from WEHAU turn out to be good entrepreneurs, because we sort of know how to make sense of chaos. And I think that is what my takeaway from this college, this course, is that I would want to have a venture of my own. And I think a lot of that comes from what I'm doing right now.
Okay, guys, sorry, but I think the award who has most fun at school is given to Ananya. David, how about you? So what weight do you expect your master program add to your CV?
Well, first of all, I love everything which everybody shared, because I feel like that is so relatable, and I can really, be able to say that I have had a very similar experience, within my time doing both undergrad and of course within the MBA program. I think for me, it was really important to go back and get my master's, or rather continue and do my master's, was because I wanted to, first of all, kind of like round out my education. I wanted to be able to say, you know what, I am a master in something, and actually really kind of solidify my knowledge based on the foundation which I had already set during my undergrad. And that's most likely why I'm going to be settling on marketing again as my focus for my master's, because I do really want to be able to confidently show that I can navigate my way within that field. I think on top of that, one of the great things which you all mentioned was the network of alumni. I think with UCR, again, we reach far and wide. I mean, Visa, Netflix, Google, we go very, very far. And I think one of the beautiful things about UCR and the diversity of our campus, and how much people are willing to help one another and how genuine people are, really translates into how our alumni actually go out in the real world and manifest themselves within the workplace. I think that's why we have gotten so far, because people, I think the whole attitude in the workplace is changing. People are looking for genuine folks, people who are qualified, and people who do have a lot of knowledge and experience to offer, but people who are also genuine and will really help build really strong teams within the workplace. And I think that's one of the great things about UCR, as I mentioned previously, that even after people move on, they are so genuinely interested to come back and help current students, whether finding jobs or internships, or just providing them with their experience and knowledge, and kind of sharing those little tidbits, those like golden nuggets of information, I think really is one of the things that I have gotten so much out of my experience so far within the MBA program, is being to network with these folks and build those connections. And as Ananya said, I think it's so important that, of course, not perhaps, just saying, hey, I'm looking for an internship, but being able to connect with them again and saying, hi, I loved what you said, for example, at the speaker series, which you were at the other day. I would love to speak with you more on that, and then build those connections. I am so fortunate to be actually mentored right now by one of our alumni who works for Esri, which is the leader in geographic information systems of the whole world. And he is currently a senior product marketing manager with the company. And so being able to, see somebody who is an alumni at a, big company like that is really reassuring for me that there is hope for my future. And also, being able to sort of be mentored and guided throughout this process, and, have these tools to help me set a very, very strong foundation before I launch into my career, I think has made the world of a difference. So I think that's definitely one of the things that I believe is bolstering and really kind of helping build up my background while getting my master's.
Cool, guys, you're very inspiring. I think like all of you each of you will have a very bright future. Like I can see it, that's for sure. So, and now like the key question for everyone who is watching, what advice would you give to someone who is applying next fall? Anything you wish you had known, or anything you think what was really effective when you were applying? Let's do it in a random order now. So Ananya, I feel like you want to start here.
Well, I actually, before I started off with my applications, I spoke to a lot of students, and I wanted to do like a thorough research on what is it that I'm getting into, because I was planning on moving to a country which is like miles and miles away from my country, and I don't know the language there, so I needed to know what I was getting into. So like that would be my first suggestion, that always do your research well. Talk to the people from like all these universities. Not only just ask them questions about the course and everything, but also about your life, because you will have to live there. You won't be just studying the entire time. So that's one thing. And second thing, like I was actually talking to the admissions office at Wehau, and like they just kept on saying that, we have seen a lot of good students like who are really nice to talk to, but somehow like when they sit for their interview, they're either very nervous or somehow they just like they are not being able to make the best impression, and they don't get selected. So we lose out on a lot of good candidates. So that would be my second suggestion, that like just be yourself and be confident. I know it's easier said than done. You will obviously be nervous when you're sitting in front of the panel, but try your best, because, well, that's your once in a lifetime opportunity.
Okay, Hannah, would you proceed? What is your recommendation?
Yeah, so mine's very similar, and I would say just reach out and talk to people. I think that's the biggest thing that I wish I did a little more of, is just kind of get everyone's point of view and perspective, and kind of pick each other's brains and like understand more about all the programs that you're interested in. I mean, I know there's so many people from Fuqua, and there's a page that you can reach out to us. You can send us emails. Like, we're more than happy to answer your questions. And I think it's just important to be yourself. That's the biggest thing when you're applying to Fuqua, is don't try to be someone that you're not. Like, they want diversity. They want people to be their authentic, true self. And so you definitely just reach out to people and talk. I think that's the biggest thing that I can tell people, and wish that I would have done a little more of.
Beautifully put. So David, how about you?
Well, first of all, great points made. I agree with all of that. I think one of the things I would say is start early. Start early, because especially if you are, for example, a fourth year, you are doing your senior year in undergrad, you want to get this done, or at least start as early as possible, because besides just having the time to sort of space out your application process from the CV or the resume, which you are creating, from the personal statement to the, of course, GMAT or GRE, I think it's very important to give yourself time. I know a lot of schools also do have early round applications, like for example, at UCR, the earlier that you apply, the faster which you will get your admissions. And I think also, in terms of if you are choosing between different schools, it's very important to give yourself time in order, so once you actually get all of your admissions, to have that time to look over all of the offers which you have and find the school which is the best pick for you. Because I think just sort of, being at the last minute and thinking, oh my goodness, I have so many different options to choose from, what do I pick? It's better to have that chance to sort of evaluate everything and then be able to confidently make a choice. Ananya and Hannah, great point about not being afraid to reach out. I think that is so important. And one of the things that I was a little bit afraid of at first, in terms of reaching out to the graduate admissions team at our school, even though I love them. They were amazing, just the most welcoming and warm people, so willing to help you out with every step of the way. I think also one of the things that I personally really benefited from was that the graduate ambassadors with the School of Business were actually trained, and I'm currently serving now as one as well. We're trained to actually provide people with insight about what the programs entail, what different programs might be the best fit for you, and so on and so forth. And many of my TAs during my time in the upper division business program were current grad students within the MBA program. And so being able to network with them and either come to their office hours or speak with them after class, and kind of getting that insight from current students, really provided me with a lot of great perspective. So if you have the opportunity to speak with current grad students who are in the program which you are looking to be in, it really, really helps, especially if you are looking to pursue a master's program at your current school which you are at for undergrad. It really makes a world of a difference and makes you feel like it helps you kind of visualize how you might be as a master's student within that program. So definitely a great help. So yeah, that's what I would suggest.
All right, Josh, coming to you, like same question, what you wish you had known, what you could, what advice you could give, and also, are there any, a tricky question, are there any costs which came up which you haven't, you haven't expected, like apart from tuition? Everybody knows about tuition, but what else is there?
Yeah, so to kind of touch on what everybody else had said, obviously you want to be your genuine self when you apply, because admissions committees, they review hundreds to thousands of applications every year. And the longer they're in the AdCom, the more they're able to kind of pick out who's being genuine and who's not. So you want to highlight yourself. You want to show off your high points, but you want to be genuine about it. And you don't want to try to be sly or try to pull one over their eyes. And then I also want to reiterate, that reach out to people, know what your program is like. If you have the opportunity to sit in on a class, whether it be on campus and in the classroom or whether it be in the virtual classroom, do it, because you're going to get to see what the interaction is like between the professor and the students. And then lastly, and probably one that I think is really most important, is a lot of people do look at rankings and they're like, well, I need to go to the highest ranked school that I can go to. And I would actually say, don't take that approach. You want to look at what school is going to be the best fit for you. Is it going to fit your personality? Is the curriculum going to fit what your desire is post-graduation? If you try to get into the highest ranked school that you can get into, it may not be a good cultural fit. And so then you're going to spend 1 to 2 years in an environment in which you feel kind of like an outcast. And so make sure that you really do get that, entire picture of the program and the student body and the faculty, because you want to make sure that it's going to be an enjoyable 1 to 2 years in your program. To touch on your last question about unforeseen costs, yeah, there's always unforeseen costs. Obviously you're going to have textbooks. That's a given. Some programs may include it in the tuition, but most, I think you're going to have to foot the bill on those textbooks. But Fuqua is really upfront, and they kind of showcased this is how much your tuition is, and then that's tuition, and it encompassed everything, any fees or anything like that was encompassed. But yeah, still textbooks are expensive. So when you think about going to business school, you really need to factor in the cost of textbooks, because they can be pretty pricey. But yeah, just to kind of make a roundabout on that, be genuine, be yourself, and find the best fit. You want to enjoy your time in business school. You don't want to dread every day. And so if the best fit is a program that's not ranked as high as another program you got admitted to, I would highly encourage you to go to the program that's not as highly ranked, because you'll have a much more enjoyable experience by doing so.
That's a very practical advice. Thanks. Does anyone want to add something regarding costs? I don't know. I feel like, Ananya, you will be nodding the whole time. Did you spend more time on food than planned?
No, I actually did not. But no, I did not have any unexpected costs. I got very lucky that way. I did have a lot of unexpected savings though, because our university, it keeps on, we have all these career fairs, company presentations. Every day we have something or the other. So I think thrice a week, I did not even have to cook at home. I was always eating at the university. This is very rare to find. This is definitely not a base case scenario, but yes. The only unexpected cost which I had was that I had to move out of Falendar after a point of time, the small village that I was living in. And when I moved to Berlin, there was a lot of relocation costs involved in that, which I should have known, but I sort of did not keep in mind that, yes, this would happen. So yeah, I think that is by far the biggest expense for me. You are muted.
Yeah, thank you. Guys, we are approaching the end of our session. I still have some 10 minutes. Maybe let's pick up some questions from the chat. So, Ananya, stay with me with this question. Could you tell us a little bit about opportunities for, like, here it's written consulting, but generally job landing in EU for non-EU nationals?
Well, I can speak for Germany when I say that, but yes, there is a lot of opportunity if you want to. But there are a few things that you have to keep in mind. One, you have to be diligent. Germans really they really value diligence, they value persistence and punctuality, but that's something which everybody knows. And besides that, yes, language is not big of an issue, but eventually you will have to learn it, especially if you are planning on consulting, whether it's in France or any other country which is not majorly English speaking. You will definitely need the language unless you are in-house consulting. In that case, it's more flexible, but I would still suggest to learn the language.
All right, good. That's good to know. Let's see what other questions are there. There are some guys asking about, like, whether it makes sense to go for masters after some longer period of work, or even after having made some other masters. So, David, you also made some experience helping out at your school. So maybe you could share your opinion about that.
Yeah, I think absolutely. I mean, anytime that you have work experience to apply as an MBA student, it absolutely helps. I think in terms of, as we talked about before, being able to have that perspective and be able to see things from applied terms, it really does help. Now, of course, again, as I mentioned, it's not absolutely necessary, because it's also, without having that background, doing various coursework and also being able to, have different experiences within the classroom do still provide you with that sort of a really solid background. But of course, absolutely, if you have anywhere, I wouldn't even pose it as a question. Absolutely, if you have, let's say 3, 4, 5, even 7 years of work experience, we have folks who are over 40 within my program, and they have decided to go back to school and really bolster their CVs or the resumes, whatever you want to call it. It's definitely it's always a very good choice. It's a great investment, whether it's a master's of business or whatever master's program you want to pursue. Absolutely, I think for anybody, it's always a great choice. It just, again, I think, as Josh had talked about, just about making the right choice for you in terms of the program, in terms of the school, in terms of the culture, how you would fit in. I think especially for some folks, being perhaps away from school for a while and going back to school, it's very important. But absolutely, if you want to go back after several years of work experience, I would say you're probably even more prepared, especially for a master's of business.
Yeah, and I want to add to that real quick. I think every school and every program is going to be different. If you have 4 years of experience, pursuing an MBA is going to be a great option for you, or pursuing a specialized master's as a working professional is going to be a great opportunity for you. Hannah or Ananya could probably touch on a little bit more, but masters in management programs typically do have kind of a cutoff. So if you're looking, if you have an undergrad degree and you want to pursue a master's in business, the MEM program probably isn't the best fit for that individual, because it's not really geared towards individuals who have a significant amount of professional work experience. But 4 years or more, an MBA or a working professionals program is absolutely a great option for somebody to consider. So.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and touch on that. But my program is definitely more for undergrads who are recently coming out of school who don't have that experience. So Fuqua is great about, they have a program for everyone. So if you're interested in maybe going to Fuqua or going to Duke, then there is a fit for you, but you just have to figure out where that is.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you very much for your insights. Ananya, did you want to add something?
I just want to like add two specific things. Yes, firstly, I completely agree with this. So for MIM, we have a maximum of 2 years of work experience. So we only take the university only takes people who have up to 2 years of work experience. And in this very specific case, more than 4 years is actually also a disadvantage when it comes to MSc Finance, because WHU only allows up to 4 years of work experience. So in your case, I would suggest that MBA is the best option for you.
Yeah.
Great, guys. Thanks a lot. So I think it's time to wrap up our session. Thank you very much, guys, for your time. It's been very valuable. Thank you, everyone who asked you, the questions, and for everyone who's working behind the scenes. There are quite some guys. Thanks, and please feel free to join the following sessions. The week is full with different events. We will be very glad to have you here. Goodbye.
Thank you.
Bye.